Welcome to another episode of Signal 11 Outdoors. Today on the podcast, we have a really special guest, someone that I've known for a few years, and the one and only, the Blake Garrett. How are you, Blake?
Hey man, how are you?
Good, man. It's so awesome. I can't believe this is great to be able to do this with you. I have to
Yeah.
say the Blake Garrett because when they go to find you, I know on Instagram, that's you, right? You're the Blake
Yeah.
Garrett.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, it's the as the username. So there's a lot of Blake Garrett's out there, or not a lot, but there's a couple I know of. So we did years ago, and yeah, it kind of stuck. So we're running with it.
Cool. And I don't care how many Blake Garretts are out there. There's only one the Blake Garrett because this one that we're talking to today and what we're going to jump into right away, you kill a lot of animals very successfully with a lot of hard work, but just incredible stuff. So I want to jump right in. First of all, I'm glad to have you here. Thank you so much. And just to start out, for people who don't know you, you're a Midwest guy and you're Missouri, correct?
Yeah, right in the middle, of
Yep.
Missouri too. Almost right
Right in the
smack
middle.
dab.
So that's
Yeah.
awesome. And the first thing I got to tell people is, if you remember, the one thing from this podcast, get on Blake's social media and check out what I'm calling the short content, the short videos he does. I mean, there are some incredible footage, and everything, the audio, the whole visual, the whole package is incredible. You're probably doing the best of that type of stuff that I've ever seen. So that's
For
one
sure.
of the first things I wanted to talk about. Can you just give us a little insight on how you got to this short content? And I mean, it's
Oh,
awesome. Go
was
ahead,
it?
Blake.
No, yeah. So gosh, I started back in I want to say it would have been like 2010. So been in the game for a while. Kind of puts my age on me, but I started with TV, like everybody did back then. That's kind of where it was, and started kind of just film produce my way into television. I got a hold of a TV show. Me and some buddies had gone out and just ran some video and got some hunts, and we kind of just started doing it for fun and maybe some. I remember when I started, I was like, if I can get some discounts on some products and maybe some free products eventually if I can work up to it, like that'd be awesome. So you get into it and I get dove into it, got to see how the networks worked and how the marketing aspect worked and how the money kind of moved in the industry. Because I always knew it was something I just wanted to do for a living. But you got to remember when I grew up, nobody was doing it. Like there was no one. There were some fishing guys, Bill Dance, Jimmy Houston, like they had some fishing shows, but really nobody was doing hunting content, and definitely not like full hunting content all the time. So it's one of those things we kind of just created it and worked through it, ran the industry, quickly learned that you just kind of grow slow and long and go with it and just kind of flex with the industry as it went. I just got into television, Pursuit Channel. I left Pursuit Channel because of the quality of video because it was still standard definition. So I wanted to go to like HD. So then we moved up to Sportsman's Channel, and then went there for many years. And then it got to where like it almost got saturated, and I felt like the TV industry was kind of starting to crumble or fall down a little bit more. It was when you start getting a lot more streaming television and things like that. So for me, I had that by that point had built enough relationships with everybody that I thought, okay, I'm going to take this kind of digital, and I'm going to try to just get more ROI for my marketers. So just try to get them more stuff that they could say on a piece of paper. This is what we got out of Blake for this amount of dollars, and really that's what spun the whole social thing. The whole social thing, it started as kind of a joke, kind of a, nobody really took it seriously. Now, I mean, I'm one of the first guys I feel like that have just really pushed my business towards social. I don't do a lot on YouTube anymore. I feel like YouTube's kind of saturated, and I feel like if I can take the cool stuff that I get to be a part of and put it onto social and give it to somebody right there where they don't have to switch platforms and follow links and do all this other stuff, and they can just absorb it while they're on Instagram. That's what I try to do. So that's kind of where I'm at now, and it's working out well. And been fortunate enough to, I kind of am a different guy when it comes to killing stuff because I do it all year. I go from deer to coyotes, right from coyotes to turkeys, right from turkeys to deer preparation, and then deer, and we just kind of roll those big three. There's not a lot of guys that do that. There's some guys that turkey hunt, some guys that deer hunt, but not a lot of guys that just do all three and do it at a level we try to do it at, which is a high level of content. So yeah, that's it. That's kind of where it rolls. And I try to get, my Instagram following has grown quite a bit, but I try to get my Instagram followers, good absorbable content that they get to see firsthand. It's not going to go anywhere else. It's going to go there first.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I could probably make more money if I put it on YouTube and monetized it and did all that fun stuff, but that's not
Right.
why I do it. I have some good partners and I make a good living, and I just rather take it to people where they want to absorb it and get it.
Yeah. No, awesome, man. I mean, the like I was saying when we first started, I mean, you've covered how you got there too, and that content right now is it's just captivating stuff. And sometimes, some of it's really quick, and I'll watch it over and over and over. I mean, there's one where you shoot an animal on, I guess it's you shooting an animal up on the top of a ridge top where one goes over one
Yeah,
side. And
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I had to
Those
watch
new,
that 3 times because the first time I was like, whoa. The second time I was like, whoa, he's right there. The third time, like, oh, where'd that other animal come? Like, I didn't even
yeah,
know what happened until I watched it 3 times. It's awesome stuff. So,
yeah,
and then the turkey stuff is incredible. I mean,
yeah,
all of that. It's funny you mentioned the channels in the beginning, the early days, and all. Here where I'm at, and the whatever service I use for my TV, Pursuit is still not HD for me. Neither is
yeah,
Sportsman. It's so odd to me how you could
yeah,
even have that because the other channels are high def. So, I kind
yeah,
of gravitate toward them, but I still look at all of them. I look at YouTube, but
yeah,
same thing. Like your content that I can, the excitement I can get out of watching that content on your page and zip through a few things. And it's just, to me, it's so good to get a quick burst of really good shit on there, and your stuff is
yeah,
always excellent. And then I don't know anything obviously about the producing end of it all, but there's a ton of work going into there.
yeah,
Not only the
yeah.
producing and the capturing, but the hunting part of it. You're doing everything. I mean, it's
Right.
really awesome. I just got to mention real quick. I don't remember I don't remember how me and you first connected, but I know I met a very young Blake Garrett in Louisville, Kentucky at the archery trade show. I don't know how many years ago that was. I think
Oh,
you were working with, was it Full Draw at the time?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That would have
How
had to
old were you?
be.
About 22 years old?
Yeah, I don't know if I was that young, but I
Okay.
I was I'm an old man now.
Yeah,
It had to be like 20, I would say 14 probably, I would guess. I would say probably somewhere
possibly.
in there. Yeah, 13, 14
Possibly.
probably. So yeah, 11 years ago definitely. I was 30s, early 30s, late 20s.
Oh, okay. Shit,
But
well, compared to me, I thought you looked like you were 22.
everybody says that. No one believes I'm 40. I'm 40 years old, like
All right,
literally.
God bless you,
Yeah,
man.
it's crazy.
Okay, well, you do
I feel that way right
when you
now.
do something you love every day, you don't age, right? So that's a good reason. But
Yeah, no.
I met Blake at the Archery Trade Association. We had a nice conversation. I think we spoke a couple times. I saw you in person there, and that was a real eye opener for me. That whole time period. It's funny thinking about it now. You're talking about the evolution from like the TV shows and to where you're at. But it's funny. I'm thinking back at that show and walking around, and it's funny without saying any names. Who moved through that room as if they were like the next, they were the big thing or the hot item.
Yeah.
Who maybe now nobody even knows who they are.
We're not
But
probably
yet there
not
was a
doing that.
lot of yeah. The best part though for me was there was a lot of guys that were so well grounded, man. So there were so many guys in the industry that were the normal guys. They stood out more to me. The guys that would talk and we would BS a little bit and you'd be rubbing shoulders with them it was really a cool it was really a cool time. It's a little different now, though
Yeah.
even that show in particular is all different. But my point is that I've watched you evolve
Yeah,
and
thank
never stale. Every step of the way it's something new and just some really cool stuff. So with that being said, I just want to ask you real quick: how old were you? Like when did you start out? I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but I'm just
yeah,
curious. Like a guy like you, was somebody dragging you in the woods at a young age or no?
not really. Like, so I was just, I can't explain it other than like I've just always had like a drive to be out in the woods and not necessarily killing stuff. Like, I'm not a big, eh, as I mean, it may look, and a lot of people think I'm like a big killer. I'm not really down with all that. Like, I don't like wasting stuff. I'm not a big like, I never could do like prairie dogs and stuff because I just didn't really. I suppose my jam, right? I get it. I get why guys do it. It's all cool, but I always just enjoyed being out there, understanding like the animals and how it worked, and it just I think that's why whitetail hunting kind of intrigued me so much was just understanding that. But yeah, when I was young, like my dad rifle hunted deer, so 10 days in Missouri, and that was really it. He never did anything else. I was fortunate enough to be on the farm, and so when he's a big mechanic, like works on cars. He can do phenomenal stuff with mechanic and stuff. I have zero interest in that. So I went out in the woods, and I would just go with like a BB gun or maybe nothing, and just hang out literally in this like 140-acre piece of timber or 140-acre piece of ground that's right behind my dad's house. Like I would just go all day, and I'd be down in the pond. I'd be out there just walking. Like I can remember like running into deer. I can remember still as a child, like I'd like be walking through and I'd like jump a deer and I'd just hold really still, and the deer would like get up and then move around and come back around me. I remember like some interactions with some deer and stuff that in my brain they were like giant deer that were like 200 inches, right? I mean, probably looking back on it now, they were probably like 100-inch deer, but like little, I just had some really cool interactions like that. And I guess the anticipation of like going hunting and all that just really sucked me in to where I just knew as a kid, like I had to find a way for it to make me money because I was going to put it over any other priority I had in life, if that makes sense.
Well,
So
absolutely makes sense.
I don't know, man. And that's why I'm kind of still open on like, I use every weapon. I hunt a lot of different stuff. I just like to be out there running around. I don't, the value of the animal isn't held in how hard the hunt is or what weapon I'm using for me. I know it is for a lot of guys, and that's fine. That's their own jam. But for me, it's about getting close. I used a crossbow for the first time this entire year, leading up in that like that mule deer video you watched. Like I was 6 feet above that
Yeah.
mule deer when I shot him,
Yeah.
and I was on the highest point out there in western Nebraska. I could see forever. The deer jumps off like a 40-foot cliff, and I'm just going crazy. And like that experience, my whitetail that I killed this year in Kansas, I snuck up. He was bedded with a doe, and I snuck in the 30 yards on him, waited for him to stand up, and shot him with it. Like he's a crossbow, which if I use a crossbow and I set in a blind and I have a deer come in and I shoot it, I'm not going to get the rush I would have got if I would have had my compound with me, right? That's me. But in those two aspects, it didn't matter. I could have used anything, a rifle, and I
Right.
still would have had the same experience. So for me, I find ways of challenging myself and not based off weapons, and really kind of being out there and interacting with the animals. I think it's just always been like that. So it just kind of was an easy transition through life that I kind of have the privilege to keep going with, with finding my right industry to work in.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I mentioned that hunt that we just spoke about, but there's no doubt about it. You've taken some really, really impressive bucks, and
I mean,
you
I
know,
could have hunted bigger. I've had farms. I've had deer that I had 200-inch deer on the farm that I didn't hunt. That I shot like this deer right here. Actually, was he's like a 170 deer, and I had 4 years or 3 years of history with him. Filmed the buddy miss him, have sheds off of him, and the same year this deer showed up, I had like a 190 mid upper 90s deer show up that I had no history with, and I hunted this deer all day long over that deer. Like it's not size for me, man. It's just about every one of the deer I have. I've got like 30 mounts down here, and every single one of
yeah,
them I have like a special story with.
yeah. No, I understand that, and I know I know I've heard you talk about, and it was cool to hear you talk about it. You've talked about how you can't really compare, inches on a deer. Not every you can't just compare inches, from your hunt to the other guy's hunt, because so much of it depends on where you hunt, how much time you have, the
Awesome.
access. I mean, can you just touch on that a little bit? Because I think that's something that a lot of people like to jump on that and say, oh, he was a 160-inch deer. You'll never shoot that. Well, that guy may not hunt at anything bigger than 10 acres, where
Right.
where he can't get to them. They're not
Man, yeah.
there.
I mean, the worst thing about the information age is that you get to see everybody and everybody. The human, I think the human as a just a the human body is just naturally jealous. I think that's just something that comes over being. It's just part of being human, and you just have to kind of shut that off to where I mean, for me, I get hate on the end of like people think I'm fake or people think I do things for Instagram or people think I'll be honest with you, like my two passions in life are content creation and hunting, and I'm just blessed to put them together. Like you talk about with level-minded people. I've never in this industry. I've never been in here to be famous by any means. I like to be able to navigate through the world with no one knowing who I am if I can. Unfortunately, I had to put my face
Yeah.
out on some things, and I got to push some stuff for me. Probably would have made a lot more money in this industry if I would have pushed the brand for me more,
Yeah.
but that's not why I do it by any means. I do it just to create creative stuff that I can be proud of and to help people along the way of my mistakes. I'm fortunate enough to spend a ton of time in the woods, so that means I get to make a lot of mistakes in the woods. But I've hunted everything from western part of the United States all the way to the eastern part of the states, and we went into it just making a bunch of mistakes every time and learning from those and kind of going. You can't, I mean, you just can't compare things like that. You can't, naturally, if a guy's got 3 weekends a year to hunt and that's all he can hunt, man, just
Mhm.
go shoot what makes you happy. Like you almost have to live in a bubble. And though I'm on social media a lot, I live in a bubble. I don't watch like what you would call competition of mine. I don't watch it. I don't watch what other guys are doing. I don't care if guys are killing more deer a year or not. Like to me, and I think the older I've gotten, and it's funny because I kind of grew up in this the same time that like Michael Hunsaker grew up in it and Heartland Bowhunter, and I stumbled across the podcast he did on Instagram I think the other day, and he was talking about like somebody asked him like, "Oh, does it get stressful through the season if things aren't working out?" And he was like, no, he's like used to, and I agreed with it 100%. Man, I used to drive myself crazy with it, but the older you get, the more you realize like I'm gonna put the effort in, I'm gonna control my controllables, and the rest is up to fate, man. That's the hunting part of it. You just can't force it. You can't make it happen. And same thing goes with other guys, man. If you want to shoot a big deer, do control everything you can control. So number one, you got to go where big deer are. Number two, you got to have time to hunt him, right? Number three, you got to be able to shoot him. You can handle those three things, you're good to go. In this day and age, man, growing a big deer and killing a big deer isn't hard. If you've got money and if you've got endless money and endless time, you can do it. The knowledge is out there, right? It's no secret sauce to it. You can buy a farm in
Right.
Kansas or Iowa or Illinois or Missouri. If it's big enough and you got
Yeah.
enough time to
Yeah.
put the
Yeah.
right food on it,
Yeah.
it can happen, right? So I think a lot of guys I always at least just try to make the most out of what I got and what I can do and kind of put my spin on stuff.
Right. No, 100%. I mean, and it's funny because what you just said about people buying big farms, and we see that. I mean,
Mm,
we see it whether you're personally I mean, I have people that I'm connected to personally that have done it, and that was their goal, is to get out there, own a piece of big piece of property, grow the deer, and get on, at least get on one a year. And yeah, and I say all the power to them. If that's what
yeah,
you if you get to that point, that's your goal, and you focus and you get there, awesome. On the other side of it, you mentioned the guy that has 3 weekends a year to hunt. Same thing, all the power to him. If you're
yeah,
out there 3 weekends and you get something done in one of those or all three of those weekends, awesome. Because in the end, if it makes you happy, I mean, for me personally, you know for me, having more time to hunt just simply means I have more time to be in the woods and do what I love. Doesn't mean I'm going to get more, wall hangers, or even, anything, or even just you might not even have the opportunity, but you're
right.
still in the woods. You're still mentally getting ready, getting out there, controlling the things you can control, which has you thinking all the time, learning all the time,
Hmm.
and your eyes see so much going on that, to me, that's the best part about for me. I don't have a lot of great places to hunt where I can grow a deer that nobody else is getting to. It's not happening where I live right
Right.
now. It's not even my goal for the future, because I really could care less. As long as I could get out there with some friends and have a good time hunting, to me, that's what it's all about. I come home many times where I don't even need a shower afterwards, because I didn't break a sweat. I didn't really do
Right.
much more than sneak into the stand and sneak out.
Yeah.
And you know what? By the time I'm sitting down for dinner or whatever that night, it's so gratifying. And to me, that's what it's all about. I want to just ask you a question, Blake. If you could just touch on the deer hunting aspect of you. I think anybody who knows you or anybody who quickly looks at you is going to see it. You obviously hunt everything, but as we're creeping in onto turkey season, um, you do some incredible stuff. There's some incredible footage of you out there chasing those birds. And what are you using now? Are you a 410 guy now with the
Yeah,
TSS or yeah?
yeah, yeah. I shot a Mossberg. They're 500 turkey. They make it like a pump 410, and I've had it for, gosh, I think 4 or 5 years now. Yeah, I love it. That's where I've been with it. 410's changed the game a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, it has. I mean, I just in Jersey, they allowed us to get down to the 20 gauge, and I'm not sure if it happened this year. I'm not really up on it because I'm not really worried about it, but I think Jersey's leaning toward 410, or they've already done it. But when this thing airs, somebody's gonna say, "Oh man, you should have knew that." Well, I don't really need to know because I'm shooting a single shot 20 gauge,
There
and
you go.
the purist side of me would like to shoot them at 12 yards but I've shot turkeys with 20 gauge and 12 gauges from 5 yards to 60 plus yards. Last year I shot one with a 20 gauge, and I actually had to call my buddy out before I picked it up because I didn't even want to have. I didn't even want to walk over there just to show him that I couldn't believe it. And it's not normally what I would like to do, but
Right.
sometimes, if you got pressured birds and they're hanging up and you got a clean shot and it's a safe shot, I'm taking it. So I would actually like to try the 410 thing because to me, a 410 is super challenging. But I guess today, the way these things are shooting, I mean, you're shooting one. They're shooting incredible, right?
It's not challenge. Yeah, I wouldn't say a 410 is challenging anymore. It's almost like a compound bow is getting to where they're not as challenging as what, if you look at at compound bow guys back in the like early 90s, late 80s,
Hmm.
those bows compared to the bows right now are just hands down night and day. I mean, different, right? 410 the
Yeah.
same way. Like I was a little guy always, right? So when I started turkey hunting, would have been 20, 20 some years ago, 25 years ago, something like that. Um, you didn't shoot a 410. In fact, you didn't even shoot a 20 gauge unless you were like 20 yards and in. You know what I mean? It was
Right.
tough. That
Right.
was when you were lucky if you had like copper plated lead. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know how it was. But
Yep.
that game has changed now, man. These 410s, I shot a bird, and I'm not proud of this, but I did shoot a bird at like 70, I think it was 74 yards with it that I had been reaping on. I was in Kansas, and I'd reaped this bird, and he just kept walking away from me. He just kept his distance, but he would stop and gobble every time. So I'm like,
Right.
oh, I'm just gonna go. Well, I reaped him for like 250 yards. And I
Yeah.
finally got him to where I was like, he went over a hill, so I went up on top of the hill, and I came up over, he was like 77. I'm like, I think I can shoot him, whatever. Did, it worked. I'll never do it again, probably, unless I absolutely have to. But um it's shooting nines, like with the
Yeah.
same, don't quote me on this, but from what I've heard, it's nines with the same kinetic energy as a five, like a lead
Wow.
five,
Yeah. Yeah.
and there's like 490 pellets in a 410 or something like that. It's like twice as many pellets as in a 3-inch 12 gauge with fives.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, dude, they're thumping. Like the amount of,
Yeah.
we have just absolutely demolished birds um, with the 410 lately. Like I think it's just a matter of the conservation areas or the conservations kind of coming back around and understanding that that technology now has gotten just as probably more efficient than what the 12s or the 20s do as far as shooting them.
Yeah. And the thing is, like you just said there, you know, you hope that the Fish and Game or whoever's making the decision starts to realize and listens to people in the industry that can actually prove to them that it's okay to allow this now, the 410s,
Right.
or change the shot size. I mean, even New Jersey being hung up on shot size and nothing, not smaller than a 20 gauge. Things have changed so much that I mean, we wonder why. How could they not be up to date on it? Isn't this what they do? Is make these decisions? But
Right.
you know, I'm not going to get into that argument because that won't be a good one. But yeah, I'm glad to see that things are slowly changing. And it's funny because I forgot somebody I know who turkey hunts. I'm pretty sure I know who it was, but somebody had mentioned that they were using a 410, and I'm like, where? Oh, I'm using it out in another state. I'm like, really? It's that. So I started to look into that whole 410 thing and the single shot thing, and then realized I'm like, wow, it's pretty cool. So I ended up picking up a 20 gauge single shot,
Mhm.
and my old faithful gun really is getting dust on it. My old 12 gauge, which I love it, it works great. It was my first gun, but man, I love going out with this gun now. I like one shot. I like it with the muzzle loader, obviously one shot. I shoot a slug gun that's a single shot. I like it. It kind of makes me take a little more time and make that first shot count a little
Yeah.
more, I think. But
Yeah.
it's really wild how much the technology has changed in the ammo.
Yeah.
You know, um,
Oh.
and I've heard you mention a body shot on a turkey with a 410.
Yeah, this is a big debacle on social media. Everybody loses their
Oh,
mind.
is it? I'm sorry. I
I
shouldn't
don't
have
think
brought it
you.
up.
No, you're fine. I just
I didn't mean
I
that. I
feel like
wanted to
it's
see
kind
the
of the same
video.
way. I feel like it's kind of the same thing though. Like body shots when I was again, I'll go back to when I was a kid and growing up. Like you shot a turkey in the body, he was gone. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you just and then
Right.
you
Yeah.
had the pattern was so big and you had all this stuff, but. Yeah, no, that's another thing with the 410 I can talk about. Like it's with those nines, they don't have the surface area, so the feathers aren't nearly as much of a hindrance as they were with
Yeah.
bigger shot. But um, I've found now, granted, I'm not boasting or anything here, but I average 10 turkeys a year, and I've done that for the last 5 years. So we're gonna say safely, I've killed over 50 turkeys in the last 5 years with the
Wow.
410. Um,
Wow.
they I have never, I'll knock on wood, I have never lost a bird that I've shot. Not one. I've had a couple get up that I've had to shoot again as they were running.
Mhm.
But I've never lost a bird body shooting them. Now, I'm only body shooting them if they're within 10 yards, like 10, 12 yards in, I'll
Right.
body shoot one. The only reason I like it better is because when we do reap, because we always try to kill, like I talked about before with versatility, I'll go out and I'll start the year calling birds out of a blind, usually with a bow. We'll bow a couple birds. Then we'll go to kind of running gun tactics where we're just
Mhm.
shotgunning, sitting without a blind, or maybe a bow without a blind, kind of moving and going with the birds. And then at the end of the year, usually we just reap for the rest of our tags. So we'll
Yeah.
whatever state we're in, wherever we're going, we're gonna go get some reaping content. So we're gonna, which I love doing all of them. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
but it's much like deer season. We have archery that leads up into rifle. Well, by the time I've archery hunted for 3 months, I'm ready to pick up a rifle for 10
Yeah.
days, right?
Yeah.
Turkey's kind of the same way for me. I'm excited. Like right now, I leave for Florida on Sunday, right? I'm gonna go. We're gonna call them in, decoy them, get them killed. We're gonna do all that, and I'll do that for 4 or 5 different birds. But once you do that 4 or 5 times in one year, you're like, okay, let's spice this up a little bit now, right? So
Yeah.
let's go reap a
Yeah.
little bit. Just like I couldn't reap all the time, it would drive me. I'd get bored with it. But anyway, going back to it. So I'll reap. When we reap, it's easier. I've found um, when I'm laying, because I always lay on my belly and let the bird come in. So when I'm laying there and I let the bird roll all the way in, just because I like that. Let the bird roll all the way in. A turkey will never just bum rush the decoy when you're reaping. He's always going to come and then he's going to flare to one side. I've found that I can angle the decoy to get him to flare the right direction. Does that make sense?
Right.
So if I want him to come
Yep.
this direction in front of my face, I angle my decoy facing this way to where he will. It's an easy for him to kind of display himself to the bird. Well, when they do
Gotcha.
that swing, they usually do that swing. Every bird's different, but usually somewhere between 10 and 2 yards, they're going to make that
Hmm.
swing. Well, if you're going to shoot them in the head, you're trying to put my 410's the size of a quarter at 5 yards. So
Right.
I'm trying to put a quarter on that thing's head as it's moving while I'm laying down, so the shotgun's not on my shoulder. So I've
Right.
missed a couple this way,
Yeah.
and I'm like in my brain, I'm like, okay, how can we fix this, right? So I go back and I pattern this shotgun every 2 yards all the way out to 20 to kind of see what my pattern is for that 410 out to where I feel okay, I'm pretty safe with it, and I can get it about 12 yards where I just started shooting them the same spot I was shooting with a bow.
Hmm.
So it's easy for me. I can keep the shotgun lower, it can stay on my shoulder, and it's a bigger target, right? We're talking probably this much
Yep.
vital, right? So I've just found that that's the easiest way to kill them that way. So we started shooting them like that. And I mean, if you hit the breast, it's going to put a hole through it about this big that is the
Right.
same amount of damage as a broadhead would do going through
Of course.
the breast.
Right.
If you don't hit the breast, which a lot of times you don't have to, as you may know with shooting turkeys a lot, you can shoot them in the seam. The ideal spot's right above the ring, right where you shoot them with a bow, even through the wing. But you
Hmm.
shoot them that spot, kill the bird. There's no flopping. It's so weird how
Right.
fast it kills them, but there's no
Right.
flopping. There's nothing. Bird's dead. You're good to go on it. So that's what we started doing. People lose their mind, tell me that I'm an idiot
Mm.
and that I don't know what I'm talking about and whatever. But everything I do, there's a lot of thought behind it. The last
Yeah.
thing I want to do is I'm not going to be careless with an animal or with a hunt just to try to create some kind of fame or some type. You know what I mean? Like
Right. Oh, yeah, I know.
it's not gonna happen. It's everything we do is tested, proven. Like it's just maybe different. It's out of the box, but I think that's what makes
Yeah.
it special. You know?
Yeah, I think that is what makes it special, and I think a lot of probably a lot of the people are ones that didn't think of that themselves or try it,
Right.
or you
Oh
may,
yeah.
and listen, most people, depending on how much they get out and how many, you're shooting a lot of birds, so
Right.
you have the ability to practice at home on at the range, figure it out, utilize it in the field a lot more than the guy that's shooting one bird a year if he's lucky.
Absolutely.
So for me, I've never even thought of that. But so if a bird comes in, I'm looking for that headshot. But there are times when I've had to take a crappy headshot but I had a body shot, but I also didn't know what my weapon could do, so I didn't
Right.
consider it.
Right.
You obviously know exactly what your weapon's going to do, and I've probably picked out more pellets out of breast meat than you do with your 410 intentionally hitting them there. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I can remember when I was younger shooting lead. Like I can remember picking pellets out of breast when I'd shoot them in the head. You know what I mean? Like that's how big it was.
yes,
Nowadays, like I'm just you get the right choke, right gun, right ammo combination, man. You can just shoot absolute missiles at them. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's just
And
nuke
I
it.
tell you, it's funny. My inspiration is listening to what you're saying, and I would I'll go out. My goal is to try, because in Jersey you're done at 12. You either shoot by 12 or you pack it in. That's when our day ends, the first a couple segments of the season. So I'm out there. I usually try to get my bird nice and early, take a few pictures, help out work, maybe if I'm with a friend, try to get them a bird. Then I go home. That thing, the first one gets cleaned quickly I try to consume it by like a late lunch, 1 o'clock, as a
Mhm.
turkey salad. It's just kind of me and my
Yeah.
son love it.
Okay.
That's our thing. It's because we made it almost like a tradition. I don't even know where it came from, but a lot of work. You're up early. You might have roosted the birds the night before. You're shooting the birds early. You're home. But the reason why I'm trying to collectively get my patterns better is because I had one of my daughter loves to eat, enjoy that with us. And I'll never forget the first time she had a pellet in there. My wife was like, "Oh my God, she ate a bullet." I'm like, "It's not a bullet. It's she ate it." I said, "She didn't swallow it right now. No big deal." So I've told my son, I said, "We got to really work on
Clean
placement,
stuff.
whether it's head or if it becomes the body,
Right.
whatever it is." I said, "We got to really work on the placement because we're losing satisfied customers at the table."
Right. Yeah. No, it's always so funny to
Blake,
me. Like guys shoot waterfowl. Every upland bird gets shot in the body. I mean, everyone
absolutely,
does. You know what I mean? And you're shooting a lighter
yeah,
load, farther distances, and it's still
hmm,
killing Canadian geese. You know what I mean? I get they try to shoot them in the head, but it's very doable. I'm not gonna condone that people do it without figuring out your gun and what it does. But if you
right,
are reaping, if you are within 10 yards of a turkey, I promise you, if you have a decent choke tube and lead, even probably lead will do it now, but lead or tungsten or TSS or any of that stuff, you're fine. You kill them.
yeah. I got to ask you with the reaping thing. How I mean, I've seen the footage. It's incredible. If I did reaping, I'd always be like a lot higher than the bird because of my belly.
Right.
So he would think there was a mountain chasing him. But what do you? how does it work out with the camera guy? I mean, are you filming some of that yourself, or
Yeah.
is there a
Yeah.
camera guy?
Yeah, we try to be as proactive as we can and kind of innovative on how we film stuff. So I don't give all that out for what
Oh,
we
okay.
do. But yeah, we have I have cameras with me on the gun, on the decoy, on whatever, and then there's usually a big camera somewhere running behind me, trying to catch an angle with a big lens that we can get like the really high end 4K stuff with it. Um,
Right.
yeah, we just try to catch as
Yeah.
many cool angles as we can to make it as but you know, reaping's one of those things where a lot of times you can set up the ambush pretty good, but sometimes filming it, there's a lot of birds, I guess I should say, just like anything else. There's a lot of birds you can kill off camera. That's a lot
Hmm.
easier than,
Right.
a lot of the other stuff. There's a lot of, okay, he's here. I'm going to try to have you go over here and I'm going to go over here and we're going to try to pull him up to where we get it on camera. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of that pre hunt that even goes on. It's not, a lot of guys think we just go out there and hunt and it's not at all. It's like we literally every time we reap, which I think is why I like it so much, it's a whole new kind of blank canvas for how can I do this and how can I make it super entertaining as well while hunting. And
Yeah.
that's been a fun challenge. I think that keeps kind of going back into it.
Yeah. Definitely, it's definitely a challenge, and but I also like if like guys like me who there's no such I'm happy to get out and hunt. Never mind if there's no filming. But I like the idea that you said about if you're getting out that much, you're changing it up for yourself as well.
I have to.
Different style. Yeah. Um, Definitely to keep yourself interested in it, right? And you got to make it fun. If it's not fun, yeah, it's not worth doing.
Yeah. I think that's the
So
hardest thing. I think the hardest thing is to keep from burning out on it is that I just have to be it's like right now there's not a piece of me that wants to go shoot a coyote with a thermal just because I just came off of 2 months of straight thermal hunting coyotes.
yeah, yeah,
And in the May, I won't want to go shoot a turkey. You know what I mean? Like I
yeah,
just my
yeah,
brain the way it works, I've gotta keep rotating stuff or I just get
yeah.
burned.
Definitely. Well, one other question. I just want to touch a little more on turkey because it's kind of the season we're coming into. But down the road, we're definitely gonna have to get you back on talk coyote hunting because some of the
Yeah.
stuff you're doing is incredible. And then maybe somewhere before deer season or before you get busy, maybe we'll talk about a little some tactics for deer hunting. But with the turkey, are you strictly when you're like are you strictly a mouth call guy, or what do you use depending on what your situation is, whether you're, in it running and gunning, are you doing like standard run and gun where you're doing like a location call, move, covering some ground, and then like reaping? Are you reaping? You got a call in your mouth? How exactly does that work for you?
Yeah, so the Red Devil Cartel Calls makes a call called the Red Devil. It's a mouth call. And man, I honestly use it probably 99% of the time. And I keep it with me all the time. Like when we reap, we call from that. When we like there's a lot of times reaping that we'll get a bird that gobbles that we'll just work out into the field and say like we talked about before, I'll get set up and I'll have my cameraman where he can film everything in a good angle for where this bird sounds
Mhm.
like he is. And I'll just lay there and call that bird in just with hands and he'll come see the strutter and then he comes. So there's times that we do that as well. But no, I'm a big. There's a every now and then I'll use like Cartel makes a copper call that I use for like on a friction call. I'll use it
Mhm.
if we're doing like blind stuff in the morning where I want to be a little softer. It gives me a little versatility. I also do a bunch of dual calling where I don't necessarily call to the turkey. I call to myself. So I'll
Oh
just
yeah.
act like two hens talking to each other. So then you're
Oh,
not
okay.
like playing the game of like, oh, maybe I need to be a little quieter with him. Maybe I need to be a little aggressive with him. You know what I mean? You're not so much reading that bird as much as you're just talking to yourself. So you're just, hey, I'm
Right.
going to do this call. I'm going to do this call. I'm going to do this call. And he just kind of interjects himself into it. A lot of times
Right.
that works very well for where you are. I mean,
Yeah.
only other thing is sometimes I'll use a box call out west. It just seems like
Hmm.
those birds, you get out in those Merriams and those Rios, and sometimes they just want a rattier, crappier, in my opinion, sounding call. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
They just sound like a yard bird that's out there. So I'll do that for a little bit different tone. But yeah, the Red Devil, I'm telling you, that Red Devil mouth call has been something that I just I use it all the time. It's my favorite for
Right.
sure.
Is it a certain cut that you use, or is
Yeah,
it, yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's
So
almost
so
like
that's,
I don't remember what they call the cut. It almost looks like a kernel of corn, kind of.
hmm
You know what I mean? Like it just has the
okay.
one
Yeah.
you cut out the middle. But this the red devil has like that with a little bit of like almost looks like the head of a devil cut out of
Right.
it.
Right. Gotcha.
Um, yeah, for me that's what plays best. I would
Yeah,
say.
and it's like so many other things in the hunting and fishing world. It's a once you're confident with it, I mean,
Right.
it's got to be with you, because if it's not, I mean, I had a guy on the other day. I talked to him, fishing guy. If you don't have a certain hat on, he can't fish. Like,
Right.
so that call, I'm the same way. I mean, I have calls that I kind of am more comfortable with, but I can see where it's definitely a confidence thing. And then one other thing I wanted to ask you real quick about turkey. With the experience you have, I mean, it's interesting to me, because to me, turkey hunting was, as far as the concealment, whether it be the camo and the movement, to me, turkey hunting was always about, get your camo on, get in there, we do a lot of running and gunning, get on a bird. I don't do a lot of blind hunting. I don't sit in a lot of blinds, but I've done some mobile hunting where I'm kind of sitting up on a bucket or something, a rock. But it's interesting because I wanted to ask you, I mean, between the camo and the movement, for me, the movement was always paramount. You can't move. To me, I always had to be set up. If I'm sitting on the ground, the gun's got to be ready on my knee. Kind of have an idea where I hope the bird shows up, and then when it's time to make the move, if his tail's not up and his head's not blocked, I'm not moving on him. But then you look at guys reaping, you're moving. I mean, yeah, you got something in front of you. I don't think it covers your whole body. I mean, in your opinion, are the birds that focused on the decoy that you're moving with, that the boots following that decoy around on an angle or something don't really matter? I mean, I've never tried it. I'm just curious how the
Yeah.
reaping, because I was always an anti-movement. Don't move. We're turkey hunting,
Right.
So
Yeah.
just touch on that for me.
Yeah, I think that's the learning curve with reaping. That was for me too, because I'm the same way. Like you, over time of failing, you learn when to move on animals, deer, turkeys. You understand when you can get away with stuff, when you can't. Um, the learning curve for me for reaping was always like, oh, I feel like I'm just out here in the middle,
Yeah.
just moving all around. What I learned is don't come over the top of the fan. They're more locked in on the silhouette of what it is than anything. So movement
hmm
underneath isn't a big deal, but movement over the top of the fan, they pick up. So like if you look over the top and you break that,
Yep.
they'll smoke you. But if you look through the fan or you look down the side, it seems like they tolerate it a little bit more. Um, Another thing is I try to wear black on my hat, my face mask, and my sleeves, and then I wear a camo vest and camo pants because any movement, like when I was bow hunting, reaping and bow hunting them, you obviously have to draw your bow, right? So what I always used to do is I would hunker down behind the decoy, and as they come in, when they hit 20 yards, I would draw my bow. That way, if he locked up, I could shoot him at 20. If not, I was still using the same pin, let him just continue on in. And there's a video, an old one, I actually found it the other day from Kansas, where this bird was awesome. He ran like 300 yards, dead run to me. I shoot him. He flips over backwards and then dies right there. I need to post. I'll post it again. But I was wearing black, and you can actually see he was the bird that taught me that when I draw at 20, all of a sudden he stops and puffs up because he sees the black come out from the bird. So he just
Right.
thinks that bird's getting bigger and smaller. So he just picked it
Right.
up as that movement. So it never even
Wow.
alerted him in that way. So
Yeah.
there's ways that I think again, when the bird comes in, like I talk about me laying down, some things I'm going to try this year is I feel like my legs are getting seen. Now I'm doing it at a level where a lot of guys probably won't. I just try to
hmm
get, like, I've shot one at a foot and a half, like my barrel
Really?
was a
Wow.
foot and a half from it, and
Hmm.
I just try to shoot them that close if I can. So
Yeah.
that's just a me thing. You don't have to. That's just for me what I do. But I think my feet are getting picked off sometimes when I go back, because I have the liberty to go back and watch video from it on every one
hmm
I've done. And I always kind of watch the bird's mannerisms and when he freaks out and why he freaks out. And I've kind of changed the decoy around to try to make it more realistic. I've tried to, move other things to kind of see what's making him flare, what's not making him flare. And I think it's I think, when you lay out, your legs obviously get out, and you think about it, when that bird's 2 feet in front of your decoy, he can see your feet back there laying there.
Right.
So this year I'm
Right.
going to try like a leafy pant and just
Hmm.
see if it makes any difference on them. But
Yeah.
yeah, we're always at that. I learned the black thing by trial and error, right? Like you just always, to me, you're never there, and you can always learn more, and you can always be more efficient. Until the day I can walk out my front door and snap my fingers and kill a 200-inch deer, or snap my fingers and shoot a turkey, I won't be happy to
Yeah.
think that there's not a better way to do it, right? So
Yeah.
that's kind of
That's
how I do it. Black's good though, man. Black hat, black face mask, black sleeves. If you're gonna reap, it's always good because
yeah.
then you don't always have to get everything behind it either. If you're a bigger guy, you can still kind of stick out the sides and look all right, and
Right.
that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah,
That's really cool. I mean, that was something I always wondered. And you really not only did you cover it, but I never even thought about the widening with the black, looking like the bird is starting to fan in front of him, and that creating him to posture for you.
yeah.
That's really cool. I mean, and that's one thing about turkey hunting that if there's anybody listening to this podcast that's never turkey hunted, man, you're missing out. I mean,
Oh yeah, it's a blast.
yeah, I mean, turkey
And
hunting.
try to do
My
them every
a
way.
friend of
Don't
mine.
don't just yeah, don't just reap. Like go
No, no,
call a
no.
bird, get that in. Like play
Yes.
that chess game with them. Of he
Oh
gets
man.
quiet.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they do it there at home in Missouri. I can call a bird and he'll hammer, 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 and then he just shuts up. And he shows up
Absolutely.
9 times out of 10 then. And then you're always sitting there
Yeah.
like, oh, is that him? I don't know what to do.
Right.
You don't want to move. He doesn't want to move. You don't want to call because you don't want, it's like
Yeah.
that's a fun,
That's
that's a great part of turkey hunting as
it
well.
is. It is the great part. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I mean, I started hunting young with family members and stuff, but turkey hunting was never on anybody's radar. And a friend of mine that I still hunt to this day, he taught me everything I know about turkey hunting, and I've pretty much either hunted with him or hunted after learning enough, hunted by myself a little bit, or with my son who's learning from me. And the whole thing about turkey hunting is if you've never done it before, I can only tell you you're missing out. People say to me all the time, "Well, I'm not going to deer hunt. I don't want to sit in the freezing cold weather." All right. Well, there's not much to say to you if that's what you think. But
Yeah.
for guys who do hunt, whether it's small game, waterfowl, deer, whatever, but have never tried turkey hunting, you got to try it. And I tell people all the time, the best thing to do, get out there with somebody with a ton of experience.
Yep.
He's going to tell you leave all any calls that you bought off eBay, leave them at home. You're coming with me. They're going to take you out, and you are going to get an education. And there's nothing greater than being with somebody who's never turkey hunted before. When they get that first morning spring gobble within like 30 yards, and the hair on the back of your neck stands up. I mean,
Yeah.
it's awesome. I look forward to it more than anything.
Yeah.
And if I could only do one thing, it probably would be turkey hunting. But hopefully, I never have to do only one thing. But
Right.
my point to people is get out there and try it.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
like one last thing before I let you go. I mean, you had talked about, you got into the business because you loved hunting and you wanted to be. Can you tell us anything about what aspects or what businesses you're involved in now? Just a real brief,
Yes.
because you've.
Yeah, so I do a lot of social media promotion, stuff like that, marketing and stuff through social media for TikTok, Instagram, and a little bit of YouTube stuff. But I do a lot of work outside of it on content creation side, kind of behind the scenes on helping companies with marketing content, whether it be still photos, commercials, 90-second videos, little promo videos that you see on like Amazon or Cabela's website or Bass Pro's websites, where they have the little product videos. Do things like that. Kind of just anything that involves any type of marketing in the outdoor industry and some other industries as well. But yeah, those are pretty much the main things I'm doing now. Keeps me pretty busy, but I
Yeah.
got out of, we used to, like say, go back to the pro staff stuff and all that, and used to kind of have to kill animals to have content. And I got away from that to where it's a lot less stressful now. I kind of hunt just to stay current and have fun and do us, and maybe go do
Yeah.
some creative projects. But then the meat and potatoes of things are the content side of building stuff for products and for companies that you may not even see our face in. You may not see my face at all in it, but something we
Right.
build that we do on the backside of it too. So
Right.
those are the two main things.
That's cool. That's good to hear. And I just to tell everybody, we're gonna wrap it up. So I want to tell people, get out there, get on Instagram. You got to follow Blake. He's at the Blake Garrett. I'm glad. I'm happy that you're getting involved in the industry on different aspects of it, but
Yeah.
I'm glad you're still out there hunting, enjoying yourself. For the selfish reason for me, I get to see your content because
Thanks, man.
it's
Yeah.
really cool from the way it's laid out, the cut of the video, the music. It's just really awesome. So I think
Thanks.
a lot of people who've never heard of you before, because maybe you're new to them, they're going to definitely be really interested in what you're putting out there. So keep it up, Blake. Listen, we have a little bit of a friendship. I appreciate that, but I really appreciate you coming on here today, giving us some of your time, and definitely looking. Me personally, I'm definitely looking to see what your future holds for you because,
Yeah.
like I said, you've never been boring. You've done a lot of different things, and whenever I see you or what you're doing, it's always interesting.
Thanks, man.
And to me, you're one of them really level-headed, down-to-earth guys in the hunting world, and it's just a great. You're the reflection you put out there on the industry is awesome.
Thanks, man. Yeah, try to.
Yeah.
Seen a lot of bad things in it, but there's a lot of good guys in it too. So it's part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Blake, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Keep that Midwest safe out there, and hope to see you soon. And we're going to definitely have you back on here if you're good with that.
Sounds good. Anytime.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
See you.
Bye now.